going on, Flip Squad? It's your boy Kudos, and welcome back to another Flip Talk podcast. We have my co-host Alex here.
Going on? What's going on? Definitely a night full of sports we get to talk about. Some top five we get to talk about tonight. Cards, basketball wise. So let's keep it going.
Yeah. So we have basketball cards, top five, and we're also going to talk about some crazy baseball news that we just found out. And Alex is going to be covering that, so it's going to be nice.
Definitely a lot of exciting news, especially for the Yankee fans right now. But once we're definitely more excited talking about these top five basketball cards, especially now with everybody starting to kind of gel. So we got Kudos is going to definitely cover those top five, and then we'll definitely get into the rest of the sports talk.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. I definitely got some cards whose stocks went up. So for this week, I definitely going to want to try to buy those cards. So yeah, I'll get into it. Let me just pull up my list here. So this is based off, I'm gonna say, the last 2 weeks. So at number five, I got Giannis. He's been putting up numbers like he always does every season, and I feel like the Bucks are overall solid team in the East. I feel like if they were in the West, they'll be a little different. But Giannis is not only he a good player, but like he has like a lot of fans behind him. I feel like his personality brings a lot of fans. In the trading card world, it's not always about the stats. It's also about the player, because you have players like James Harden, a great player, but a lot of people don't gravitate to him because they don't like his personality sometimes. KD is another player like that, where KD is very serious, and he's straight to the point. Like, I'm gonna go ball out, do my thing, and I'm out. Like, and sometimes that type of thing doesn't bring that aspect that everybody's looking for, where it's like, oh, not only is he fun on the court but off the court. But like, at the end of the day, Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant, and there's still people that are still gonna want to collect his cards. But you have to look at it as an overall collector's hobby, whereas sometimes the kids like the players that are funny, and like Shaq, everybody like Shaq. That's why he's doing commentary now. So you have to keep things in mind like that, where people are gonna just take your personality into perspective before they even look at the way you play. So yeah, I got number five, Giannis, just not only for his skills but also for his attitude. At number four, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's been balling out like crazy. He had a crazy game against the Lakers. They went into OT, and it's crazy because like at the beginning of the game, they were up. The Celtics were up. Lakers came back. Then they were just fighting throughout the whole time, and it went to OT. Jason Tatum turned up. The whole team turned up in the Celtics, and they ended up winning that game. So I got Tatum at four. He's also putting up good numbers, and yeah, he's young, healthy. He's looking good. You want to chime in, Alex? You want to say anything in regards to those two players?
Yeah, definitely. Giannis, I definitely agree with you. Being that he is championship caliber all around, how personable he is, I think that definitely makes his card value, just himself as a person, as values, is just makes him overall just brings everything up, man. So I'm definitely with that. Definitely agree with you with that. Jason Tatum, he is balling right now. That man cannot be stopped. He is healthy. He looks good. The whole Celtics team is playing well, but definitely that's gonna boost his value up, because he's just been a force. I really feel like that. You know, if he stays continuing this trend, it's definitely gonna have put up some good numbers. I'm just don't want to say MVP caliber, but I'm just saying if he keeps pushing and pushing, he definitely could take the Celtics back to where they were last season. So
I appreciate that, Alex. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if you put Jason Tatum in the, I will say, top five right now for possible candidates of MVP. And then that's perfect that you said MVP, because it leads into my next player at number three, which is Luka. Luka Doncic. He's balling out, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like I know a lot of people underestimate him in the sense of like, oh, he's not gonna be a GOAT, this and that. But at the end of the day, Luka's killing in the sports collector world, and I will say the only problem with Luka is there's so many Luka cards generated. Because what happens is when you go back to the pandemic where like trading cards took off, these companies were overproducing cards, and it was around the time that Luka came around. So there was a lot of Luka cards out there, and there still is. And until this day, it's insane how many Luka cards you go. If you go to like a car show or anything like that, you'll see every table has a bunch of Luka cards. And I don't blame him. It's a great player to have, but it could take away from the value, which worries me. But as well as far as performance, he's going crazy. He's doing his thing on the court. He's being a leader, especially with the team he currently has now. They're in a rebuilding stage from my point of view, and I think he's doing good. They could be in a way worse situation than they are. They're actually winning games. They're beating tough teams sometimes here and there. So Luka is definitely showing MVP numbers right now. And then at number 2, I have Zion. Zion cards are going off the roof. I myself purchased a couple Zion cards recently, so I'm glad that he's going. He's putting up a progression, and everybody's happy he's back. He's looking great, healthy. He's looking like a leader, and he's fit. That man was working the off season. He just Zion. He just like how I was saying with Giannis. Everybody likes Zion. Everybody wants to see him succeed. He looks like a bully, and he plays that bully ball. I think that's what the NBA needs, especially what happened the other day where you had they were playing the Phoenix Suns, and 10 seconds left in the game, he comes over here, does a 360 windmill, whatever you call that dunk he did, and it's like, he did a statement that was the Phoenix Suns eliminated the Pelicans, so he wasn't playing when that happened. So that's his way of like, I'm here now, and what's up? Like, we just beat y'all. So sometimes it's not always about sportsmanship. Like sometimes you gotta play that bully ball. You gotta show them you ain't playing around, and that's what Zion did. It looks bad, but at the end of the day, like, I don't blame him for doing it. I understand. It shouldn't get anywhere past that. You want to chime in on that, Alex?
Definitely with with Zion, Zion being healthy now, coming back. Everybody was kind of counting him out just because the situation with the Pelicans was kind of rough at that moment. And everybody was saying, oh, he was gaining weight and he wasn't going to really be able to play, or they were going to trade him or whatever. But it looks like he came back really committed to playing with the Pelicans. And that team, not for nothing, plays really solid basketball. It's not like they're a bunch of scrubs, a bunch of nobodies. When you got Brandon Ingram, Jose Alvarado, you have those type of players that are gritty, man. They play and they ball out and they go every night. They go play. So Zion stock is definitely going to keep coming up, especially when he's doing things like that. That from the other night definitely put rubbed the Suns the wrong way. But at the same time, man, it's the kids making a statement. That's the type of thing that you want in that league, man. It's like, you know what? I'm the best. I went number 1. I'm here now. I'm healthy. I'm ready to play. Nobody's going to take me out of that position. So, I'm glad that he's definitely, getting the kind of the respect that he deserves. And he's playing like it too. So, I hope he continues his trend. I hope he stays healthy because he's definitely good for the league. I forgot your number 2. But definitely, like I said, I think Zion definitely to me is Luka. Just came to my head. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I have my doubts about Luka. I'm not a big fan of Luka Doncic. Definitely with the overprinting definitely hurts his value a little bit, the card wise. He's definitely in that weird market because Dallas is, to me, Dallas is kind of, he puts Dallas above that, that situation. If no Luka, they'd pretty much be mediocre, bottom of the West. But I mean, if he's healthy, I mean, if they could find that one other piece, man, I think that compliment Luca, which they thought it was Porzingis, but definitely was not. But now, hopefully they'll get him another piece because I think an additional piece to him will lessen his load a little bit and not make him force himself so much and stay healthy. But we'll see what happens throughout the season, man. I definitely think those two are, like I said, out of respect to Luka Doncic, I'm not a big fan, but definitely if he keeps balling and so is Zion, it's just gonna keep going up, up, up. So that's definitely a good thing for them.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you keep it real. Like I don't expect you to agree with everything I say, and at the end of the day, that's why we're just two hosts, not one. Like I don't expect you to agree with everything. I like that you say you don't like Luca because I'm a big Luca fan, and I believe in him, and I believe that at some point in his career he can win a chip. I do agree with you that the Mavs situation is looking a little crazy where they got Porzingis. He's coming off like injuries and stuff, so they didn't really know if he's gonna be that star that he was when he was in the Knicks. But I think Porzingis is getting his ways back in the Wizards, and that's a good team for him to like rebuild his ways in the league against. But the Mavs are fast paced in the sense of like they want to win now. So yeah, Luka definitely needs more players around him. I agree with that. But as an individual, I gotta say that man's a monster, man. Which I don't think that's not what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I like that you're being honest and you're saying you're not a Luka fan because that's something we could disagree on, and see where his card ends up because you're saying, sorry, you're saying that you see his card going up in value, but you're not letting that affect you, like in the sense of like I still don't like him as a player. So I like that you pointed out from that perspective.
No, most definitely, and I think that like I said, his game is his game, man. He can ball. It's not like he's you know Darko Milicic out here like he ain't doing nothing but just riding the pine. But I think Jalen Brunson really letting him leave really affected Dallas because that was the piece that complemented him. Kind of didn't allow because mind you now he's doing all the work. He really is doing the work to me out in Dallas, and that's what kind of I mean. Definitely, he won't win it there. I don't think he will win a chip in Dallas if he decides to ever leave Dallas. I don't think he'll do it there unless Mark Cuban puts the pieces around him and definitely gets that extra push. Like I said, it's the West is always difficult to win in. It's never easy, especially when you don't have the right pieces. When you got teams that are constantly competing every year, when you got going, like I said, right now Sacramento, even teams like Sacramento that they got Sabonis and they ended up getting all these players, and now they're a team that they still irrelevant in some case, but they ball. So they're there. So now it's like when is Dallas when is Dallas gonna give Luca that complimentary piece? Where's his Pippen? You know what I'm saying? For him to be to be the best in this league, like I said, you got Jalen Brown and you got Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? You got AD and you got LeBron. Where you just got Luca. What's Luca's side? What's Luca's fry? What's Luca's the Whopper? Where's the fries? That's what he needs to be able to elevate his game and get him back to where he needs to be. In my eyes, to be that top player.
I definitely agree. That's just definitely a lot of questions when it comes to the Mavs and just Luka's future. Honestly, even as a Luka fan, I think the same way in that aspect of just like what's next for the Mavs, roster wise. Because when you're saying the second player, you have like you said, you have Tatum, you have Jalen Brown, but right now the only person I see that's crazy like balling out. Like, don't get me wrong, everybody in that team is doing what they can, but the runner up to him is like Tim Hardaway right now. Tim Hardaway is balling, at least the last couple games I've seen. But Tim Hardaway right now isn't that star player that they need second runner up. Jalen Brunson is like he's doing way better on the Knicks, and right now he's like the main man, scoring wise. So you have to keep that in mind. But I'm just gonna finish up my list. So at number one, I got Joel Embiid. That man is balling out. And to me, like he's showing what is like a true stretch big, because that man is not only can he dominate the inside, but he's shooting. He's putting up numbers up from the 3 point line. He's fade away, post everything. He's just balling out right now. If that man stays healthy, I see a lot of promising, a promising future for the Sixers this season. I could see them getting somewhere in the playoffs if they could get past Boston. The big teams on the East. If the Nets are playing good and stay healthy, he could get past the Nets. He's looking good. But yeah, Joel Embiid, I feel like a great asset. They got James Harden. They have Maxey, which he's currently hurt, but once he gets back, if he comes back healthy, that team is looking scary. And Joel Embiid has been in the year in the league for a couple of years, and he's right now he's looking. I think I heard a rumor about like the Philly like trading him, and I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that could be possible, because right now he's the best big man in the league right now, for sure, hands down. Like, you can't tell me any other big man that's better than Joel Embiid right now, and I got him in my top 3 for MVP for this season.
Definitely. And if he stays healthy, which is the biggest question, if he stays healthy, then yes, I could see him being that top 3 MVP. Now, I was hearing about the Philly rumor too, of them possibly trading him away and probably getting a couple pieces. Do I blame Philadelphia? No. And it's kind of like you're putting all your eggs in the basket with James Harden. And, that kind of is kind of like, to me, it's kind of like what are you kind of doing if you do that? Because regardless of, like, James Harden, yes, he is James Harden. That's who he is. That's he's one of the best ballers here. He's been doing it for years. But at the same time, you need Joel Embiid there. You need him to be a part of that tandem. Can't just get this man rid of, and then what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a hard sell in Philadelphia right now, because that's been their that's their bread and butter right now. That team, the way it's built right now. To get rid of Joel right now would be a big mistake for Philadelphia, because I'm not putting all those eggs in that basket on James Harden. I mean, I love James Harden, but at the same time, I'm not risking I'm not putting all my money onto that situation and thinking that, with just James, with whoever you put on in center, it really doesn't make sense at all. Unless you're going to get back some really, really good pieces. I'm talking about, you got to be getting back some craziness back towards Philadelphia if you're going to get rid of Joel Embiid. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And remember, everything is about money as well. And, the league is a business. And unfortunately, Philadelphia is it's one of those market teams where, it can either be good or it could be bad. Depending on the situation. And if, Joel has to go somewhere else, we'll see. Well, we'll find out if this is true or not. But, we'll just keep, for now, he's a Philadelphia 76er. And we'll see how he keeps playing. Hopefully he stays healthy and he keeps putting up those numbers. He keeps driving his stock up, which is what the big fans, the card holders are hoping for, that keeps putting up these good numbers and the stock goes up. And, everybody's making money, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely in the sports card world. You got your collectors and you got your flippers. So if you're a flipper, you definitely want to get Joel Embiid. If you're a collector, you definitely want to get Joel Embiid as well. I see if he keeps playing at this caliber and he stays healthy throughout his career, I see a lot of bright future for him. Right now, like I said, I got him at the top. When it comes to big men, and there's a lot of good big men in the league. So for me to say that, it shows that he's like playing his ass off. So yeah. So just to recap, at 5 I had Giannis. At 4 I had Jason Tatum. At 3 Luka. Number 2 Zion, and Joel Embiid at first. I do want to say notable players who have been playing good in the last 2 weeks. I want to say Kevin Durant, SGA at Oklahoma, and Jaylen Brown.
That's a big.
Yeah,
S yo, SCG is crazy. That kid is nuts. And Oklahoma made out with that kid. That kid is just going off every night. And it's insane what he's doing right now. I hope that kid stays healthy. I hope that kid keeps pushing the just pushing the envelope because he's gonna be in talks. I say another 2 years, man, and I'll give that kid an MVP. But I don't think, depending on how the situation is in Oklahoma, that kid is gonna be something special to me in my eyes, man. He just balls. He just really, really keeps, every night when like I said, when I watch ESPN, this kid is on TV. He's constantly on the highlight reels. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, 2 years from now, he's gonna be something big. So I definitely agree with you on that card right there.
yeah. Me personally, like online on eBay, I'm seeing a lot of his cards. The prices are fluctuating. You have, especially if you have like an auto card or a numbered card, you're gonna be paying a decent amount of money. But honestly, I think it's a good investment. SGA is Oklahoma is a sleeper, man. I ain't gonna lie, because they have so much talent and they're all young. You have like players like Giddy that kid could ball too. So, but SGA is looking different. He's playing like MVP. He's in the top five scorers in the league right now. Averaging points per game, and yeah, just like, but like everybody else on that list is balling out. Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, and then my sleeper. I'm gonna throw one sleeper of a player that I'm. This is like a guess of where that I think he's gonna have a good season is LaMelo Ball. He just got back from his injury. He was on the highlight play. He was looking okay on the court. I just feel like moving down the line in the season, get back on track. He'll put up his numbers, get his double doubles, triple doubles here and there, as long as he stays healthy. But he's a sleeper right now, so you might want to buy his cards now before they get expensive again. Because once he gets healthy, he'll get back to ball, and they'll put the ball in his hands. Especially being in the Hornets, he's the go-to guy. Especially moving the ball around. He's gonna give you a bunch of assists a game. He'll average at least 5 to 10 rebounds, and he puts up his points sometimes. He'll drop you 20 sometimes. So you got to keep that in mind.
Definitely, I agree 100%.
So yeah, man. That wraps up the basketball segment. We're gonna move down to baseball. And honestly, like, I just want to hear everything Alex got to say. I'm not even gonna chime in. I haven't really been like keeping up with my off-season baseball trades, not well, pickups and stuff. I know Alex has been keeping up with rookies, pickups, and that's one of the reasons I mainly brought you on to this podcast, because I know you have a good knowledge in overall every sport, honestly, and but I think your baseball knowledge is insane, and I feel like you have to share that to the world, and you got to put it on the podcast. So, just take it over. I'll just, I'm gonna have a bunch of questions for you, so be ready. But yeah, I want to hear what you got to say. I know this is one exciting news you're gonna share with us. As a New York Yankee fan. So if you want to start with that, you could do your thing.
All right, guys. So definitely, man. As we're doing this tonight, we got a big signing by the Yankees. Starting pitcher Carlos Rodon signs a big 6-year, $162 million contract with the Yankees. Definitely one of those pitchers that the Yankees need behind Garrett Cole and Nestor Cortez and Servino. So the roster now, the rotation looks very solid. I love Rodon. Uh, the Yankees did pay the price for him, which is a lot. It's a lot of money. But when you have one of the best pitchers, a left-hander especially, coming, into that market, definitely the Yankees, ended up, filling that hole. So it is a big signing for the Yankees. So this is going to be a big, like I said, the Yankees are not done yet. I sincerely feel like there's one or two or three moves that they're going to still do. But this is probably the biggest one that we were all waiting for. It took about 2 weeks, but they finally got it done. So that's exciting for the Yankees. So hopefully it'll keep going. And then over the last couple of days as well, the Braves ended up making a big trade for catcher Sean Murphy. from the Athletics. They gave up a couple good prospects to the Athletics. Milwaukee also got some. There was a third team in that deal, so they got some prospects as well. But the Braves are not. They're not out of it, man. So next season is gonna be one of those seasons, man, that I think that's gonna be really good. Philly got better. The Mets got way better. Now the Braves are trying to catch up and try to be better. So it's big. It's good for baseball when everybody is starting to get better. Those teams that you feel like you can count out every year. They're starting to get better, especially in on the NL East, where it's always a tough division. It's not an easy division because you don't know who's going to come out of it. Philly came out of as the wild card. They counted Philly out. They beat St. Louis. They went out and grinded it out. They beat St. Louis. They beat San Diego. That was one of the top teams here, and they got to the World Series. Unfortunately, they didn't get to beat the Houston Astros, but they went out and they got better. And they weren't slouching around waiting for, that we're fine. No, they went out and they got who they needed to get. The Mets said, I'm tired of losing. Owner opened up his pocketbook and got $420 million out and signed all these great players. So I'm keeping that team solid. The Braves did what they have to do. So now going into next year, you're definitely going to see some exciting players changing places, and definitely Carlos Rodon is going to be one of those players. So you're going to see he's last year he was 14-8 with a 2.88 ERA, which is, especially in that NL West, it's great. You know what I'm saying? He pitched a lot of innings, which what the Yankees do need, especially when last year was kind of like it was a positive season, not the greatest season to me. I felt like there was, certain places where they did lack, even though Aaron Judge hit the big, 62 home runs that ended up breaking Mantle's record at that moment last season. But the playoffs, pretty much everybody just disappeared. So, but having a pitcher like him coming on now, and as hard as he throws, and the pitches that he throws are excellent, definitely compliments the Yankees here. So now they're going against, definitely want to be able to beat those Astros when we do see them. So I really am excited about this signing right here for the Yankees.
Yeah, definitely. As a Yankee fan, anytime you say anything about the rotation, I get excited because I feel like that's where we can lack sometimes, with consistency at least. It's one thing to put a lot of big names on your rotation, but it's good to put players that you believe in and are pretty balanced, and when it comes to their stats and their career. You want to get players that you don't see like too much transition between their years, where it's like, oh, this year they got a bunch of loss, but then the next year they did good and then they went back. So you want consistent players, you want healthy players, and anytime anybody says anything about the Yankee rotation, it makes me happy because it shows me that they're working on it. I feel like they always bring the players that are gonna hit. They're always gonna bring the players that are gonna hit the home run. Yankee Stadium, the size of the Yankee Stadium, it's very easy to hit home runs in there. You're gonna get players that hitting home runs all season long. But when it comes to the rotation, that's where I worry. Because the stadium's so small, you have to get pitchers who have good control, who have good control on their velocity, because you have to put the pitch in the right place, because if they catch it, it's out of the park. So yeah, you want to keep those things in mind. But yeah, it definitely sounds like it's progress. And one question I have for you is, what card do you think the stock is gonna go up? Because I don't know if you noticed, for a lot of sports, the stock goes up on the off season because everybody's making predictions. So, for example, you have Aaron Judge. As soon as he signed that contract with the Yankees, his car shot up off the roof. Last week, the Aaron Judge car was off the roof. So, what other players do you think their stock is gonna shoot up, or what young players? Because at the end of the day, people collect rookie cards. That's the car with the most value. So what player do you think, aside from Aaron Judge, is gonna put up big numbers when it comes to the hobby world?
I sincerely think that right now, to my eyes, besides Aaron Judge, I really like the Carlos Correa signing. The Giants spend that big money. That's 13 years. $280 million for the $350 million. I'm sorry, and that's a big bat to have. And I think Carlos Correa's numbers are gonna go up. Maybe his home runs are gonna dwindle a little bit, just because that ballpark in San Francisco is not the greatest hitters ballpark, to hit home runs on. But I definitely know that his numbers are gonna go up. So I definitely think that his card is just gonna go up a little bit. Um, and then there's a lot of returning players. A lot of big bats. Trey Turner, especially now that he's in Philadelphia, left the Dodgers. Now he's in Philadelphia. Gets to play again with Bryce Harper that he played with in the Nationals when he won the championship with. He gets to play with all his old friends there. So now, that's probably gonna boost his numbers because Wise is he's happy to be back on the East Coast. His wife is from Jersey. That matters. That plays a big role in everything because especially when a player's happy and he's able to play well, he's gonna put up good numbers as well. So I think that card's definitely gonna start going up a little bit. And then you starting to have like I said, it's always the following year, everybody's anticipated to see what organizations are going to start calling up, their rookies, their double, especially in spring training. You're going to get a lot of double A players that come in and join the roster and just play, try out, see how good they look. Everybody has their eyes on them. Everybody's watching the scouts and ownership and everybody else. The one card that I think everybody should get and should have, catcher Logan O'Hoppe. The Angels acquired him from Philadelphia when they made the trade for Brandon Marsh. He is one hell of a catcher. And I think that he is right about there knocking on the door. You're talking about a guy that, he hit 238 with, 26 home runs, 78 RBIs, 74 strikeouts in 104 games in Double A last season. So he does have some pop in the bat. He does have a cannon for an arm. And I think this kid right here is going to be something really positive for the Angels, especially now that he's going to probably, fight for that spot, or and the Max Stassi are going to have maybe alternating, maybe one, couple games him, couple games him, or whatever pitcher probably feels more comfortable, whatever catcher, they're probably going to alternate it if it gets to that point. But I definitely hope he shows out in LA this year. And then I have one more player, which if I'm being biased, I'm being biased. I don't really care. But Oswald Peraza, man, the Yankees are gonna finally have a chance to show off their young studs. Um, he's definitely coming up. He showed himself out a little bit last year during the playoffs and also during towards the end of the season. Showed off his glove, hell of a defense. His offense is going to definitely pick up because obviously, getting used to the major league level and getting those at bats in is really, really going to help this kid be something special for the Yankees, man. And I think that card should be definitely, something you should watch on. And now, especially now, when Anthony Volpe gets his chance, that's another player that's coming up from the Yankees, which I think that stock is going to definitely go up if that kid shows out in spring training and fights for that position at second. At second is short, depending on where they feel him best. Because we have, Gleyber Torres. They're talking about trading him possibly, maybe not. Him being a Yankee before spring training. But even though in my eyes, I hope not. But at the end of the day, baseball is a business. But if that does happen, we are definitely the Yankees are good. But I think definitely that Anthony Volpe card is going to start pushing his way up as well. And then the last player, I'm going to say, kid from Arizona, the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll's been in, he's definitely been one of those top prospects that everybody's been looking at. He's gonna put up some good numbers, especially in Arizona. Just because in Arizona everything is low key, and they do have some low key good players. But if this kid does end up coming up, he's definitely going to put up some great numbers, and he's going to look good. Last year in the minors, he hit 307 with 22 doubles, 24 homers, 62 RBIs, and 89 runs scored. So if that can translate over to the major league level, that kid's card is going to definitely go up. So those are kind of my four that I'm watching out for right now. So there are others, a lot of others that I can speak about, but those kind of like are my top four position players. Those are the ones that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for when the season starts. You can kind of do what I do, where I give you the top 5 players of the week. I'm excited for that. But how about we do it this way? How about you tell me what team you have as a sleeper this year? What team you think is gonna play better than they played last year, and what team you think is gonna play worse? For example, like for me, this is not even a prediction. I just want it to be like this. I want the Astros to play worse. Like as the Yankee fans, like the Astros, they cannot win another World Series. Like that's too much for me, man. Like it goes beyond being a Yankee fan. I will say they're a great team, but I feel that they're gonna have a good season, but it might not be as great as it was this year. So that's gonna be my prediction. The Astros are gonna have a slightly worse season.
I think so too, but not as bad as everybody thinks. Even though they did lose Justin Verlander, um, they they still have a solid rotation. They still do have hidden gems in the farm system. So mind you, that rotation wasn't making a lot of money. These are a lot of rookies. These are a lot of guys that are still under that 6 year. 6 year that they're holding on to these players for those 6 years, so they don't got to pay them a lot of money. But they're out here pitching gems, man, and you still can't count them out as much as you would love to, and I would love to too. But they're still going to be one of those top teams that are out there. So I sincerely think they'll still be. They're not going to really fall off like that unless something bad happens and certain players get hurt and injury is always a possibility. Um, the Yankees are still going to be up there, obviously. Um, my sleeper for this year, I think the Tampa Bay Rays are definitely going to be one of those teams. Their pitching is coming all back. You're getting back Tyler Glass now, which I think is another card that everybody should be looking at. That kid is a stud. That kid is, he's he's scary, man, when he's out there because he's just has nasty stuff, and he's coming back for a full season. He was hurt last year, didn't get to pitch all last year until even the playoffs, and he came in and he threw a gem. So Tampa's another team, because they're always scrappy. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they scrappy and they get those hits, and that's what kind of matters. So I think they'll be there. They'll be in a push for the wild card spot. Um, Another team that I'm really liking, man, that I really think they're gonna start making a little bit of a push now, too. Especially in the West, and it's gonna, like I said, I don't know how. I'm hoping that it comes out well for them because a lot of the money that they spent, but I think Texas is gonna start making a little bit of a push as well in the NL West and the AL West. I'm sorry, so they're gonna start making those little pushes because they made some good deals. They signed some good players. Now they got Jacob DeGrom. From the they signed him to a big 5 year. Close to $200 million. So that was big money spent on a starter. So that'll definitely help them out. And then they got a lot of studs coming up from the minors as well. So that'll be a team that maybe they'll be very much of a sleeper. Probably be a pest, cause some issues, but I could see those. I could definitely see those two teams, being a little better than they were last year.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you just said. You surprised me a little bit with Texas, but after you said all the little pickups here and there, um, I think that they could definitely have a better season. Gotcha.
The AL West is a very funny division because every year, you can, like I said, obviously the Astros have been the ones that have been consistently coming out of the AL West. The Angels always have a chance to do it. I just think that, man, it just sucks that the Angels just, they have all these great players, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Max Stassi, but they just don't have enough to push them through it, man. And it sucks to see them down because I think that they could be, one of those teams that'll come out of the West, but they just don't have enough.
I'm excited for this upcoming season. I would because I feel like you always have a lot of sleepers when it comes to the MLB. A lot of teams where the record you see a big change, and sometimes it's very easy to spot out what's wrong with the team. It just for some reason there's politics involved when it comes to the GMs and the managers and the players themselves. So it's really hard to make changes throughout the season unless it's like really noticeable. If you're losing a bunch of games in a row, it's like, all right, we gotta make some changes. Let's make some changes in lineup. Let's bring up some players from the minors. But at the end of the day, you have to make adjustments quick so that it's not like you're gonna sit here and treat it like basketball, where some teams may tank games, just to get better draft picks. But it's so much more games in MLB season, so I think that's what's different when it comes to basketball. But is there anything else you want to add when it comes to baseball?
I want to hit that point that you just said. That definitely it is hard to make those changes. But look at the Phillies last year. George Girardi was managing them, and it just seemed like the season was slipping away. And then management just finally made a decision to cut Girardi halfway through the season, and then they bring in bench coach, Rob Thompson, which was a Yankee coach for many years. Finally got his time to shine. I sincerely thought he was going to be a Yankee coach, Yankee head coach, but that didn't come to fruition. But now he pretty much just took that team and led them to a World Series. So he's coming back around to hopefully do it again. So yeah, baseball is an unpredictable sport, and as much as you can sit there and crunch the numbers and do whatever you feel like is you do to enjoy baseball, it's unpredictable. And just like how the Yankees, they started off hot, they were hot, 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 and then right toward before the All Star break, they just started steeping down, and they made it through with the skin of their teeth. Um, and they got there and they got in. So like I said, it's how the game goes. Sometimes you start off hot and then you cool down, and you got to find ways to be able to change that around and get the hot bats going again. It's a lot of baseball players are superstitious. Some players, they do things to try to if they're wearing a certain type of sock, they don't change those socks. They stay with their socks. Their bat. Oh, they don't try to change their bats if they're hitting high. They don't like doing certain things. Certain players even switch their bats. Certain players will grab a different bat. Oh, look, I like your bat. I'm gonna use your bat, and all of a sudden they're hitting. Last couple games they've been hitting consistently with this that bat, and they'll keep using that bat. So, but that's what I love about baseball. It's so unpredictable, and you just got to be ready for whatever comes, your way. And as a fan, it's exciting because you're always looking to see what's going to happen. What's who's going to be that guy that next star to pop out. So always keep your eye for those things, and just like I said, I'm definitely excited for next year. Next year is going to be one of those big seasons because, like I said, a lot of a lot of old faces and new places. So we'll see how it goes next year.
It's the reality of the game, and it's what keeps us going season to season. Is just what's next, what's the next player up. So it's very exciting to just know that there is so much potential. I just feel like with how things are ran, athletes are just growing much faster at a faster rate. Just coming out of nowhere. It's not only within the U.S. It's like international players as well. So you got to keep that in mind. But yeah, if you guys made it this far in the podcast, I want to thank everybody for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like and a comment, and I'm you know what, I'm gonna do it different today. I'm gonna let Alex close it out. I'm gonna have him say the last statement, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next video. I have a lot of video ideas that I'm gonna run by Alex that I think you guys are really gonna like. So thanks for watching again. It's your boy Kudos.
That's like how Kudos said, man. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support. Kudos as well. Please leave your likes, subscribe, do everything you got to do to support us. We'll definitely try to put out as much content as we possibly can. We love you guys. Be safe. Whatever you do, make sure your bets are safe. Make sure you keep your cards clean. Keep them nice and shiny. Keep them protected. Send them out. Get them PSA graded. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side, man.
I like that. I like the flip side. I like that. Flip squad, flip side. But maybe we could do a little thing there where the flip side is Alex people, flip squad is on my side. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we all flip talk listeners, and that's what we're talking about. So we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
That's right. Peace.